Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Heat Wave. 32 teams, 32 days, and we are finishing off the NFC South today with the Carolina Panthers. I'm your host, the Fantasy Plug, Tim Petropoulos, editor-in-chief of BrotoFantasy.com and the Fantasy Football by Broto app, and I am joined by my brother, the king of this fantasy thing and lead fantasy analyst for the Fantasy Football by Broto app and BrotoFantasy.com, Michael Petropoulos. What's up, bro?
What up, Tim?
That was
What
Mike.
up, Tim?
There you go. That's much better. I don't know why you became Southern, but better.
I didn't know you were gonna pass it to me.
Next, the Dynasty Don, the Fantasy Encyclopedia, the lead writer at Broto, Mr. Psych Ward, Matt Ward. What's good, bro?
What's going on?
Flex on him, kid. And Santiago Casanova, the genius of fantasy, and the lead data analyst for Broto, and the developer of the Fantasy Football by Broto app. Right now, rocking the Vancouver Grizzlies Bryant Reeves jersey. What you know about it?
Fire.
Speaking about
on YouTube.
Yeah, youtube.com/BrotoFantasy if you want to see it. Speaking of the app, download the Fantasy Football by Broto app for free today and get every single tool you need to become your own expert and dominate fantasy football. On the app, the tools that will help you are fantasy player cards, which is every single stat you need about a player in one place. Fantasy player grades, usage charts, a start sit tool during the season, and a who to draft tool right now in the offseason. Player comps, consistency charts, game logs, coaching tendencies, articles, podcasts, waivers, and advanced statistics, including true throw value, true target value, true performance value, adjusted air yards, and true matchup rankings, which are exclusive to Broto. You can find them nowhere else. And this app right now is free. FREE free 100%. No in-app purchases either. Yes, not the fake free that they want you to think is free. It's the real free. And the reason that is the case is because we have patrons who donate to the cause, give us a monthly fee. And for that monthly fee, we give them extras. These extras include extra waiver wire show every week, access to Broto Leagues, including the craziest league that you've ever heard of, the Unlimited League, which is all flex players, and it's 2 flexes. And we're going to talk about it. Like, we are going to give you like a Sports Center update every single week. We're going to talk about the start sit decisions, the players, the matchups. I don't know. If I was not part of this, I would want to be part of it. So the way you do it, patreon.com/BrotoFantasy, proven DFS cash game optimizers by Cass, access to cheat sheets, private team consultations, and of course, the greatest community in the world, the Broto community over on Discord. We are jumping.
And the best ball guide.
And the best ball. I'm sorry, Michael. I keep doing that. And the best ball guy. Don't forget, Michael had the highest advance rate of any single person, any single expert in fantasy football last year. 37.5 of his teams finished in the top 2, basically cashing out, and he's teaching you how to do it in the best ball guide. For our patrons, it is absolutely free. For everyone else, you can purchase it right now at BrotoFantasy.com. Today, we are jumping into the Panthers. Like I said, offensive outlook. This is the 3rd year for a guy who has my heart because he's a New York native, Mr. Matt Rule. But this one could be his last. He is on the hot seat. He's got fire on the booty. 10 wins over the last 2 seasons. He fired his offensive coordinator, Joe Brady, who not many people will remind you because it was those people talking about it. Everyone's favorite candidate to be a head coach this year was Joe Brady. Instead, he got fired week 10. So you want to hand it over to an offensive genius, right? Who do they hand the keys to? Ben Mcadoo, who, if you haven't heard the name Ben Mcadoo for a while, the last time he coached, he failed at being the Giants head coach in 2017. He's been out of the league since 2017, and now he takes over the reins at offensive coordinator for this team. Strange hire. Will it work out? There's a quarterback battle. Last year didn't look too good. 29th in points, 29th in points per game. Passed 57% of the time. That is the middle of the pack, and their PFF has their O-line ranked 24th this year, which is actually an improvement over where they were at this time last year. Their additions, of course, is quarterback Baker Mayfield, running back Deontay Foreman, and one of Michael's favorites, one of Broto favorites, Rashad Higgins, coming over from the Browns. They drafted offensive tackle Ike Ekwonu and quarterback Matt Corral, and their subtractions, Amir Abdullah, running back, center Matt Paredes, who people don't really talk about this because he's a center, no one really cares. One of the worst free agent signings in the last few years. Like, they gave him a big money contract, and he completely shit the bed after getting that cash. And then quarterback, of course, Cam Newton, who rejoined the team last year. So let's start with the quarterbacks. I know Michael will kill me if I start talking about that. I think Sam Darnold is better than Baker Mayfield. Personally, I think Sam Darnold is better than Baker Mayfield. But I doesn't care what I think. I don't run the Panthers, and I think right now, if you're reading the tea leaves, it looks like it's Baker's job. Even though, if you read the camp reports, it seems that Sam Darnold is the more consistent quarterback, but Baker Mayfield is the more splashy quarterback. They are choosing to go with that splashiness. They're choosing to go with the big plays.
Oh my God.
Am I saying anything but factual information right now? No, I am saying facts to the people. Okay?
No, you're like the biased media when it comes to Sam Darnold, bro. You just do
I don't
whatever
know,
you can.
because I've
to
seen
hype him
camp
up.
reports. I've seen camp reports that Baker is clearly the best quarterback there,
Yeah,
and that
me
Matt
too.
Corral looks special, and that Sam Darnold might be cut. So
I also heard that Sam Darnold might be cut, but last I heard,
Look-
Sam Darnold
yeah. So what are you doing?
was the more? I mean, it's cut because of the salary cap, not
Better than
because Matt
Baker
Corral
Mayfield.
is
Tim,
ba-
I
is
literally-
better.
I put in my notes, Tim, we're not discussing Sam Darnold.
Yeah, all right. So look, let's talk about Baker. I don't want to.
Thank you.
I'm the one who tried not to discuss him, and you dragged me into this. All right, you
I don't
dragged
think
me
he
into
tried
this.
very hard.
That guy, man, that guy is like
This
You know,
guy.
he's faced a lot of uphill battles in his career, and I feel for him. With that being said, Baker Mayfield is the quarterback. How do you feel about Baker Mayfield? I don't think there's any reason to start the year with Baker Mayfield as your quarterback. So go ahead.
Yeah, look, Baker Mayfield is going outside the top 24 quarterbacks in ADP. Obviously, that makes sense. He has shot up a little bit since he got traded to Carolina as the assumed new starter. I'm assuming he's going to be the new starter. And look, his rookie season was a historic one. I mean, he threw 27 touchdowns, and people thought he was well on his way to being a force in the league. And then it went downhill from there. Coaching changes, not being able to mesh with OBJ, injuries to his receivers, things of that sort. He also went 26-8 a couple years ago in a more game manager style type of QBing for him. Last year was rough. Obviously, he's not matched what people wanted him to be when he was taken first overall in the draft. But now he gets a fresh start here in Carolina. Like you said, Tim, Ben Mcadoo, I'm not really sure why they brought him in, but there was a time where Giants fans loved Ben Mcadoo before they hated him when the offense was actually doing well. So we'll see how that goes. Like, everyone hated Mike McCarthy too, and then he went to Dallas and people started loving him. And this is what happens with NFL coaches. If their team isn't doing well, people start hating him. If it starts doing well, they love him again. Same thing with Doug Peterson. Eagles fans out of nowhere started hating Doug Peterson after he won a Super Bowl for them. So I'm not looking too much into
That's Philly.
Yeah. Philly's rough. I feel them. I'm from New York. New Yorkers are the same way. But yeah, now you got Baker Mayfield in Carolina. Look, he has DJ Moore as wide receiver 1, uninspiring receivers otherwise with like Terrace Marshall, Robbie Anderson and company. I'm not interested in those guys. But DJ Moore, this is probably the best quarterback he's played with. Hopefully he could surpass 4 touchdowns this year. I think Baker Mayfield is going to have fun throwing to DJ Moore. He has Christian McCaffrey out of the backfield to throw to. I think this is a better real life fit than it is for fantasy. I think they're going to, just work their offense through Christian McCaffrey. But I do think Baker Mayfield has a chance to work his way into to be like a solid QB2 this year if he's able to become a consistent producer in the Carolina offense and really mesh with the team they have there. Because it's not like it's a terrible supporting cast. It's a pretty solid supporting cast. And if their offensive line could improve a little bit, he might be better than he was in Cleveland, at least last season.
All right. With that being said, let's get into the wide receivers that he's talking about because you just touched on them a little bit. So let me not waste any more time. You touched on all the guys already. So how are we feeling about the wide receivers?
DJ Moore, that's where the name or the list
broke
of
up a
names
little bit.
starts and finishes.
You broke up a little bit right there. What did you say about DJ Moore?
I mean, that's where the list of names should start and finish for wide receivers that you want to draft on the Carolina Panthers. And even then, I mean, man, it's like DJ Moore's never been a wide receiver 1 in points per game in his career. Baker's an upgrade from Sam Darnold, regardless of what propaganda Tim tries to spread. But it's not I don't know. DJ Moore just really needs a quarterback, man. He's shown every ounce of efficiency and incredible big play ability and ability to earn targets at an elite alpha rate. He's shown it all. He ranked 5th in target share last year at 28.4%. Guys ahead of him were Devontae Adams, Cooper Kupp, 5th in air yards share as well, 11th in target rate at 28.3%, but he was wide receiver 23 in points per game. Only had 4 touchdowns, like Mike said, which is a common occurrence for DJ Moore. He's Mr. 4. He was wide receiver 59 in true target value, though. So, like, again, he can take really bad opportunities and still produce incredible games and worthwhile fantasy points. But right now you're drafting him at wide receiver 15, 42nd overall. And that is essentially the ceiling that he has shown up until this point in his career with the type of quarterback play that we can expect. He's never really gone above and beyond. It's pretty hard to like quadruple a wide receiver 59 true target value, and he's doubled them consistently. These low value opportunity seasons. So he can put up the numbers, but at that cost, that is essentially the highest he has ever scored in his career. And something that I've reiterated many times in the heat wave, it's like drafting players at their ceiling is not something that I'm super interested in, because you don't have like much wiggle room for the cost that you're spending on them. Like, they have to outperform that. And he's never done that.
My gut is telling me the same thing that you're telling us right now, because in my mocks or in any situation I've been in, I haven't pulled the trigger on DJ Moore, not once. I have no shares of DJ Moore right now.
And the talent is undeniably there. Like, he ranked 2nd behind only Justin Jefferson in true air yards, and he was 1st in unrealized true air yards. Like, the kid just needs a quarterback, but like, Baker isn't rookie Baker anymore. He's definitely not in that offense, and he's, I think if we see 30 touchdowns from Baker Mayfield this season, that would be an absolutely incredible jump that nobody's really expecting. And I don't really think that that's what you want when you're drafting DJ Moore's, because essentially in that position, you've taken one running back probably, and you're drafting him as your wide receiver 1.
There's no other, it's just DJ Moore, and that's the end of that.
I mean, you're not touching Terrace Marshall or Robbie Anderson. Like, and if you're thinking about grabbing them as like late flyer picks, like, those are late flyer picks that you're going to burn and have to use a waiver wire spot on.
Yeah, I did the overall finish points per game report, where it looks at players where they ended and where their points per game was. And Robbie Anderson ended as like wide receiver 70 or something. So you'd think like maybe he got hurt or something, but like this dude was like 85th in points per game. He was
he
even
just
worse
had
in points per game. He was just
1 points per game.
Insane.
That's it. He
Bro,
played every game.
It was so frustrating to watch last season.
And like on the note of Robbie Anderson, I think because it's late enough in the summer, people forgot, like, he retired already. Like, he retired this offseason. Yeah. Robbie
Forgot
Anderson
about that.
retired. And was like, I don't want to play football anymore. And then was like, oh yeah, I'm still under contract and can make like $8 million guaranteed if I just show up. So
Yeah,
I did not remember
he's
that.
just gonna show up. Yeah, man.
Robbie
100%.
Anderson is
He straight up posted that he's retired from football. Like,
Robbie Anderson
he
is
did this.
someone that we as Jets fans we watch closely, and we always thought was very overrated.
I remember the time where like Sam's rookie season, and they had a couple good games to end the season, and you thought maybe it was the year, maybe it was the start of a franchise. Robbie and Sam.
He had
together.
He had a pretty good year that second year after Sam had. So it kind of came to fruition, sort of. But like, he's always been overrated, because I feel like people think that, especially because of the contract he got. Like, he got like a number 1B type contract, and he's definitely not a 1B. With that being said, let's go on to the BRoto tip of the day, which is not the 1B ever. It's the 1A, baby. And one of the things that we have here is in the stats section, we have consistency charts. And it's one of the most important things, because it lets you know who is consistent. How many times did this guy finish as a RB, wide receiver, quarterback, tight end? 1, 2, or 3. So, Cass, show the people. Cass, you're on mute.
Of course.
My brother.
Like Tim said, it's in the player stats.
Man, he did it
section.
again.
I think that's
Cass
3
is muted.
times.
There it is.
No, that's 3 times. Sorry. Yeah. So like Tim said, it's in the stats section. As you can see, I'm looking at running backs right now. You can see how many times they finish as an RB1, RB2, RB3, and RB4 or worse. We just like bend those all together because they don't matter. You can see Jonathan Taylor was RB1 11 times, RB2 2 times, and RB3 1 time, and then a crap performance there. And you can sort, like, if you want to see who was RB3 the most, it was Mike Davis with 5 performances. If you want to see that, that's disgusting. By the way, he didn't make the top 12 even once. Like RB2, Josh Jacobs, shocker, right? So yeah, this is a very good tool to check those types of things out.
All right, another tool, another day on the Fantasy Football by BroTo app, and we have a cool tool for you next time. So I definitely can't wait for that one because we're seeing which one should it be, and Matt mentioned it before, True Air Yards. So if you want to know about True Air Yards, check in tomorrow. With that being said, let's go on to our next position, and that is the running backs. Everyone knows who the running back is for the Carolina Panthers. Jonathan Stewart, one of the better. No, Christian McCaffrey is the man. And the only worry you have about Christian McCaffrey is, can he stay on the field? Because even when he's on the field in an injury-shortened year, he's still amazing. Last year, in his game that he played, he was an RB1 every time. How can you get better than Mr. Christian McCaffrey? He put up over 20 fantasy points without scoring a touchdown. It's hard to say that you can get better than Christian McCaffrey. So, Cass, talk to the people about Mr. McCaffrey.
Yeah, I mean, injuries are a part of the game, especially for running backs. They're just banging into linebackers a couple dozen times per game, and that's just gonna injure you eventually. And it happened to Christian McCaffrey a couple years in a row now. But I'm not taking that into account when you consider where he's being drafted, in my opinion. So RB1 overall, RB2 overall, 101, 102. I'm not mad at it. That's, I think, around his range. He had a down year last year, even in points per game. And target share, he had a 17.8 target share, as we've established. That's elite, even for wide receivers. And he has a good grasp on the backfield. We all know that. So, like, draft him 101 if you want. I'm not mad at it. I'm personally drafting JT over him, but just very, very, very slightly. And also depends on the type of league. PPR, probably going CMC. Standard, most likely going JT. But he's Christian McCaffrey.
I will say this. I obviously agree. So I didn't say something about JT that I wanted to say, so I'm going to say it now. A lot of people are saying that JT, it's hard to repeat as RB1 2 years in a row. It's very hard. Yeah. People don't do it. And one of the things that they're saying is be careful because he had a very low output for a running back 1 last year. So people are correlating those two things together with, I think that he's less likely to be RB1 this year. But I think there's a perspective where you could say he has a lot more room to grow, Jonathan Taylor, right? So he can score more. We've seen crazier seasons than Jonathan Taylor had last year when he finished RB1. So I think that I'm still going Jonathan Taylor because I know what I'm getting with Jonathan Taylor. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. And then Christian McCaffrey is my 102. But that's just personal. I don't have any issue with anyone going 101 with Christian McCaffrey.
Absolutely agree.
Yeah, does anyone else have any thoughts about Mr. McCaffrey before we move on to the tight ends?
He's certainly the higher Hubbard upside pick.
Oh, you want to talk about Chuba Hubbard? Yeah, let's do it.
I mean, like you got Chuba Hubbard and Donta Foreman as the backups, and that's an interesting case because Foreman had a very similar role to what Hubbard had last season when McCaffrey went down, like similar target share, similar rushing share, etc. But instead, he was with the Titans, and he outperformed Hubbard. Even with I think he had both a lower target share, a lower rush share in their respective offenses, and he outperformed in points per game Chuba Hubbard. So I think if CMC were to go down again, 3rd year in a row, bad luck, they don't hold standalone value as a handcuff because they're gonna vulture each other effectively, in my opinion. I know Foreman's old, Chuba's young and whatever, but they brought him in for a reason. And I think if McCaffrey were to go down, they're going to split carries, going to be absolutely useless for fantasy, both of them. That's just how I see it.
Let's go over to the tight ends. Guys, if it wasn't for Kyle Pitts, the tight end position in the NFC South would be literally a dumpster fire of like unusable. Tommy Tremble, Ian Thomas. Those are the names of the guys that you're never going to use on your fantasy team. I mean, do we have to let's save the people some time?
I wonder how many people out there actually know who Tommy Tremble even is.
Tommy Your
He
knees
He makes
tremble, bro.
opponents tremble. Yeah, but
Tommy
That's
Tremble's
about it.
like Nick Boyle. Like that's really that's his best comp. Nick Boyle is essentially the Ravens' de facto fullback, and that's what Tommy Tremble is. He's a fullback.
Okay, well, there you go. Ian Thomas, Tommy Tremble, no reason to roster these guys. Let's get into our bold predictions. All right, you already know what's coming, so I don't even got to tell you. Sam Darnold takes over and outperforms Baker Mayfield when the time is right, when everyone realizes what they made this man go through. This man is like, he's like a prisoner of war of the NFL. It's like, yo,
Jesus.
I hate what the NFL has done. They've chewed this young man up and spit him out. And
Tim,
it's time
please.
for him to
You're
Next,
killing me. You're
Michael,
killing me,
you're
guy.
up.
I should just make it something about Baker Mayfield now, right? Just to
Sure.
spite you. I'll say Baker will be a top 20 quarterback.
That's not hot at all. And you had an English
Yeah,
accent
dog,
when you
come
said
on.
Baker out of nowhere. I think Baker. I think
I did
Baker-
not have an English accent
Yes,
when
you
I said
did.
Baker.
Listen back. Oh, you get Baker.
Yeah. Fine. I'm gonna make it something spicier. How about DJ Moore scores more than 4 touchdowns?
No, that's not. That actually is spicy because
It's never happened.
man, people too much with the mathematics. Sometimes DJ Moore is small and he's not. He doesn't have the end zone. Doesn't have the end zone prowess just as a player. Yes, people
Look
average.
at Matt's face.
I don't know. People average more yards. People average more opportunities like than he does. I get it and all that stuff, but he's just never been a guy who scores touchdowns in his entire career. And you can't say, oh,
I just didn't know that 6'1" and 220 was small.
bro, he plays small, bro. When's the last time you saw DJ Moore dome somebody? Never.
Tim's 6'3", 225. So like everyone's small to Tim.
Bro,
you know?
the guy plays small. He does. And 6'1" is a stretch, bro. You see him on the field, he is not 6'1". He's tall, he's the same size as all these corners. 6'1" is a stretch, brother.
I do think 6'1's a bit of a stretch.
That's a
but,
stretch,
But
man.
still, Tim, when your quarterback's throwing like fucking 14 touchdowns on the season, it's hard to score more than 4 touchdowns.
Oh, okay, so it's his
Okay, so
circumstance.
DJ Moore sucks and Sam Darnold's nice. Yeah,
I was gonna say the same
good
thing.
episode for you.
I didn't say that Sam Darnold is nice. I said he didn't get a fair shot. All right, relax. All right, Matt, you're up.
Yeah.
Sam Darnold gets cut.
There you go.
That's not bold either. Cass, you're up.
It's bold enough.
Cass, you're up.
I don't know how bold this is, but I'm gonna go with DJ Moore, wide receiver 1. Just make it chalky.
Not overall, Tim.
Yeah, it's
top
the
12.
Panthers.
Yeah.
man. We can't
Just
make anything
top 12,
bold.
dog. Top 12.
This is a
Yeah,
team
the
that
Panthers are a tough team.
Any
Yeah,
success
yeah.
is bold.
Yeah, it doesn't
Yeah,
seem
like I have two
we're excited.
candidates. Either it was DJ Moore as a wide receiver 1, or they're contenders for the first overall pick next year. Those are my two bold
Yeah,
picks.
I think the Panthers are more likely to be the worst team in the NFL than DJ Moore is to score 10 touchdowns.
I mean,
Is
yeah,
that a
I
good bold
just went
prediction?
with more fantasy relevant take.
I don't know,
Yeah.
guys. This is a good defense. Let's not forget about the Panthers.
I don't know what that has to do with them scoring touchdowns.
Jeremy Chin.
CMC's back. I think that the Panthers could surprise people this year.
Yo,
Don't
I got
sleep on
Jeremy
the
Chin in
Panthers.
our dynasty, and he was clutch last season with his touchdowns.
Boom, boom. All right, with
Jeremy
that being
Chin is
said,
the defender for those who don't know.
Yes.
I
And he
just
scored a couple of touchdowns.
I'm in the draft
Oh yeah.
right now, and I just took in the 4th round of the rookie draft. I took someone. I can't
Nice.
remember who. Not
Oh,
not-
cool.
That's what
Yeah,
usually
right.
happens in drafts. But
Yep, there you go. I took someone.
nice.
With that breaking news, we will come to you next time with the last division. We waited as long as we could. The AFC North. With that being said, peace out, everyone. If you want to see us on YouTube, youtube.com/BRoto Fantasy. It's not, we're not really a video centric podcast. The algorithm rewards consistency, and we're consistent, but you got to press play. And if you keep pressing play,
Yeah.
we will give you the video content. But if not, our people are more Michael just dropped the mic, are more writing and podcast centric. So we'll just keep doing that for sure.
Yeah, well, this
Um,
pod
yeah.
should have ended like 7 minutes ago, Tim. All right.
Peace.
See ya.